Unfortunate it is. Your destiny you must face. And it is... No, wait, what is line? Look, unfortunate it is. Destiny you must face. Your father it is. Look, there is another sky walker. Look, forgot I did. Vital, important it is. No, not important, no. Yes. Language course coruscant. Bad. It is. Don't send children there. Yes, that is it. Oh! No, that is it. That is all. Go to the Force. I do. Death. Forever. With that ghost thing. Goodbye, Luke. No, Luke, don't sleep with your...
Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Be a Great GM. Today, we're looking at the story and the question and the complexities of having a mentor NPC and how you can do it correctly and how you can do it badly. The idea of the mentor, obviously, is to help guide the players and various other bits and pieces. There's far more to it than just that, of course. They have a purpose, and that purpose should be utilized. Otherwise, you're not really creating Otherwise, you're not really creating a mentor NPC. You're creating an NPC. How do you play them, though, so that they don't come across as this strange little hermit green man who picks up young innocent boys who happen to be wandering through the swamp? How do you do that and avoid the cliches? And then obviously, what is the reward for including an NPC who happens to be a mentor within your game? All of these questions and more we answer in today's video, so stay with us. Let's jump straight into it. What is a mentor? Well, what is a mentor? What is a mentor, I hear you say? The mentor NPC is there to give insight to the characters when the characters perhaps are stumped or don't know where to go. This is not to say, however, that they are going to give the answer to the PCs. And most NPCs that are mentors anyway, specifically don't give the answer. They give this cryptic mumbo-jumbo trash. But somehow that sits in the player's mind and they go, oh, that's what they mean. So you have to look at it and you have to unpack it. The Star Wars saga had two very big mentors in the form of Obi-Wan Kenobi and then Yoda. And both of them were absolutely brilliant at not saying what they should have said, but kind of what they wanted the character of Luke Skywalker to figure out on their own. Darth Vader didn't actually kill Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. It's so much easier if that's just said straight out like that, rather than Darth Vader murdered your father. What? He lied and betrayed and murdered your father? Really? That's tragic. He's an ass. I'm going to go and find him and kill him. Well, he might also be your actual father. And Princess Leia, by the way, is your sister, so you shouldn't make out with her repeated. All of these things should have been said up front, and yet the mentor decided not to. And traditionally, this is where we have seen the mentor sit. They are always just holding back a little bit of knowledge, just enough to have it actually make sense. They'd rather let the player characters figure it out. In your case, as the game master, you're going to be doing exactly the same thing. You can just do it a little bit better than that sort of way. The idea is that you're not just giving out the information to the players. They need to earn it, they need to understand it. So if the mentor is there to provide some insight, well, have you challenged everyone in town about the disappearance of the little girl? Well, no, we asked one person. Well, perhaps you might want to ask a few more. rather than just, oh, by the way, I saw the whole thing and I know exactly what's going on. There's a goblin down the well. You don't want to do that. That's giving the game away, and you might as well just play on your own. The idea is to give them insight. A mentor is also a meta pusher. Now, this is a contentious subject. I raise my hand straight away. Yes, it is a contentious subject. Metagaming is a tool that you as the GM have in your arsenal, and if you don't use it, it's just an avenue that, well, you're not using, basically. The mentor can provide certain pieces of information that the characters might have missed previously or may not have picked up on. And you're aware that they didn't pick up on it because you're the game master and you're watching them purposefully avoid picking up on what it was that you were very specifically talking about. The mentor can come in and, having not been there, go, did they not wear a strange ring or amulet or earring, perhaps? An identifying mark. The player might go, oh, I didn't really look. Then you as the GM can pop in and say, well, give me an observation check, give me an investigate check. Whatever your skill system is for your particular system, you can then ask for that roll. You know, you do recall now that, yes, whilst you were busy chatting to him about something completely irrelevant and off topic, yeah, they were actually wearing a ring in the shape of a human skull. Much like the skull effigies that you saw in that dark temple that you walked past on your way into town. There is the option of the mentor allowing certain amounts of meta information into the party in a way that makes it narratively plausible. The next time you watch any kind of feature film and there's a mentor character, they're going to have knowledge that you go, how did they know that? Where did they even get that from? I mean, did they read the script beforehand and they've just kind of cheated? There is that option with the mentor, and there's a reason why mentors generally die off fairly early on in the story. It's so that they don't just go, oh, for heaven's sakes, do it myself, will I? More powerful than you anyway. And then off Yoda goes and decapitates the Emperor because, reasons. They are also the conscience of the party. Occasionally, players become very murder hobo-like, or they take a very, very black and white view. Oh, you abducted the princess. Oh, your crime punishment is decapitation. Oh, you stole the cake from the baker. Your crime punishment is decapitation. Generally, players have a fairly dim view of anyone who violates whatever random code the player characters are supposedly clinging to. The mentor is also there to provide them with some kind of, it might not be wise to kill them all. A few left behind will learn their lessons, make better of it, and be generally a nicer human being, don't you think? Yeah, they might do that. They might ignore the mentor completely, but the mentor is there to provide you with a vehicle of bringing the party back on track if they seem to have lost their way. So that's a very powerful thing that the mentor can be used for. And then finally, the mentor, in my opinion anyway, the mentor can be used as a mirror to hold up to the party. If the party are bloodthirsty, the mentor can come in and say, yes, we will wreak our revenge. I want you to cut them open and wear their entrails as decorations around your neck. Show the world how evil these bandits truly are. When they stole that horse, they signed their death. Death. Kill their families. Cut their heads off. Rape their necks. Do all the things. You can hold the mentor as a mirror to the players going, the mentor is saying this and you have a shocked look on your face, but 5 minutes ago that's exactly what you did to that entire Klingon village. Basically that's what you did. And now you're getting upset that your mentor is suggesting that you do the same thing. Why is there a double standard? So the mentor can hold up a mirror to the player characters and, to a very large degree, to the players themselves. Like I said, there's a lot of meta that the mentor can bring with him or her to the party in terms of saying, well, yes, this is the mirror this is what you are doing. This is what you are showing me. I'm just reflecting it back to you. So is this really what you want to be seen as? Whether that's to the player or to the character doesn't really matter. The mentor is there to pass judgment. That's their job. So when we then look at the purpose, what is the purpose? So we've said what you can do with the mentor. What is their purpose? The purpose of the mentor is to align your plot points, to align those moments that you've set out as being narratively important, and to get the PCs to get to those plot points. So they are a nice alignment. You align your chakras so that you are all in sync with one another. Your players are on the same plot path that you are on. They're not scattered everywhere. This will make it a much more pleasurable experience. By aligning your plot points, using the mentor to get the players to where they need to be, it makes life a lot easier for you, especially if you've got a very complicated space or there's subtleties going on that the players are just not picking up on. They can provide direction. Well, yes, you could go there, but you've got really no reason to go there. No, can you think of any other location, a name that you heard 3 sessions ago, a place that you saw 4 sessions ago on top of the mountain to the east? Do you have a map, the one that you found on the Goblin? Obviously, you're not adding in that extra piece of an aside. That is hopefully what the players are tweaking, going, oh yeah, we did find a map, didn't we? We never looked at that. I've got a situation at the moment where I have the characters who've been given these incredibly powerful magical items. None of them have cast Detect Magic on them. They don't really care. They've treated them literally as empty, hollow trophies of war and have chucked them aside. It's such a pity. If I had a mentor in the game, I would use that mentor to say, I was wandering around the castle the other day and I found this chest full of items of power. Should we keep them there or should we lock them up? What do you mean, items of power? Well, there's a sword and a pair of beads and a shoelace and this and that. They radiate power. I assumed you knew. No, and off go the players. The mentor has now done their job. They have provided direction. They have inspired the PCs to action. Sometimes the PCs don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. The mentor can come in and just say, well, hey, just go this way. Just try that. And you'd be amazed at how it suddenly brings the party back on track. The mentor is also there to build a relationship. Why are they there to build a relationship? Well, because we're going to kill them off later on anyway. And even if that is how... Even if you're going to rebel against that and say, no, my mentor is not going to die / leave mysteriously / vaporize because my mentor is different. They're not the cliched mentor. Sure. But your mentor should still have a relationship with the party. The mentor should still be seen as someone who can provide them with information, even if that mentor is not necessarily a nice mentor. I will never forget in The Adventures of the Windswift, in Season 1, one of the first episodes, somewhere episode 4 or 5, I think, the one player was playing very recklessly with their character, to the point that the character died. They happened to roll luckily and got their mentor, who arrived and beat the character with a stick because the character just couldn't see it. The mentor was very blunt, very straightforward, but there was still a relationship that was established. And so when the mentor reappeared later on, there was this certain begrudging enjoyment of the mentor's arrival. And it worked quite well from that perspective to just bring the player and the character back into a space where you feel that they should be. Now, I know it sounds like the mentor is basically just a means or a method for us to control our players and make sure that our players are staying to script. They're not. They're there to potentially inspire and guide the players to where we think they're going to have more fun. That's the important line. Where do we think they're going to have more fun? Well, they'll have more fun if they understand the story. So we're going to help them with the story a little bit. They'll have more fun if they are solving the problem rather than being beaten by the problem. Okay, we'll give them that. We'll let them have that space. So mentors are not a yardstick, not a railroad device. They are a support and a crutch which we all need from time to time. So how do we play the typical mentor? Well, I always like to avoid the cliche, but that is very, very difficult. We have had so many mentors, so many different guiding forces, that it is difficult to not have a mentor have some kind of mystical air of superiority about them, even if they're humble about it. If you look at some of the great mentors of screen, anyway, the ones that I'm certainly aware of, you have Yoda, the ultimate in little green guru who helps train Luke. He gives Luke direction. He gives him just enough information to send him on the right path, but not enough information to really take it to the next level. If he'd kind of explained Palpatine had overthrown everybody and killed everybody, that might have motivated Luke to be a little bit more cautious. Oh, who knows? So we had Yoda, the bad linguistic little man who did his thing. If we go to Star Trek, we go to Star Trek The Next Generation, we had Guinan. Guinan was quite a different mentor to Yoda. Firstly, she could string a sentence together. Secondly, she wasn't just mentor to one character, she was mentor to whomever walked into her bar. She was sometimes direct and honest and pithy, and sometimes she was caring and gentle. But she always gave some kind of wisdom, some kind of insight to the character that left them in a better place than they were. Occasionally she was a driving force, where she made a request of the captain, unlike something that she had never done before. So there are moments where she stepped out of the mentor space and became and built a better relationship with the viewers, with the show, with the cast, well, with the characters anyway, and moved beyond just being a simple kind of space. So mentors abound, and you can find them everywhere. It's about trying to use the cliche and say, all right, well, the mentor is this. Highlander, Sean Connery, was the mentor of the Highlander. What an interesting mentor he was. He was not the typical mentor, but he has now become one of the tropes of the mentor. What's his name? The turtle from Kung Fu Panda, Ikwe. Is it Ikwe? Master Ikwe? I'm not sure. He, typical, very Yoda-esque, very turtle trope-based. So there's that. Master Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is another example. He's not exactly Yoda. He's not exactly the comfy Guinan that he was. He was a bit of a straight-handed individual, but he had the best intentions of his pupils at heart. Do they have to be old? Is it important? Well, sure. Most mentors are older because we perceive the elderly as having the insight of their years, the ability to look back and go, well, that was dumb. We really shouldn't have done that. Well, let's change that. I think they can be. I think also if you have a young mentor, if you have someone who's giving this kind of insight, it might not necessarily read well. It might be creepy to have this little child look up and say, well, I think you should go there because that makes the most sense. Having said that, sometimes out of the mouth of babes is true. Use children to give characters direct insight. You've used them as a mentor, but would they be a lasting mentor? I'm not sure. Maybe. Less is more. Now, this is the important thing about the mentor character. Mentors don't give out books. They don't give out, chapter here it is, read must you frequently. They don't give out lots of information. They give out just enough to inspire the character. And you need to do the same. If you're giving out vast tracts of information, miles and miles and miles and miles of history, it's too much. Give the characters just enough. Let them ask some questions. Wait, you said this. Does that mean that? Maybe. Let the players seek the information. Remember, it's not about you just giving them the plot. You could do that very simply at the very beginning of the game. It's about you getting the characters to explore and discover that plot. So that means that your mentor is, to a degree, an obstacle in its own right. They might have information that the PCs need, but they're just not going to divulge it for that weird reason that all mentors like to do. They like to watch the character grow and get there on their own. It's a strange thing that a lot of teachers have as well. It's like, well, I could tell you, and I'm technically paid to tell you, but I feel that you will learn the lesson better if you actually physically experience it. So cut your father's head off first, or not, and then we'll talk. Riddles or cryptic answers is the key. I know that that's very cliche, and we just said avoid cliches. But sadly, riddles are what it is all about. It might not be a direct, three men walk into a bar. What type of metal is the bar made out of? It might not be that kind of cryptic riddle. But it's definitely not going to be something that's straightforward either. The serpent strikes twice. Remember that. Okay. Not that I'm aware of. I do know that a green mamba strikes 3 times. But sure. Serpent strikes 3 times. Twice. Great. Yeah, good to know. So riddles or cryptic phrases often make the mentor a bit more identifiable. Wax on, wax off. All of those kinds of tropes and cliches that we know about are there for a reason. Use them liberally to create your mentors. It's sometimes just going the backhanded stereotype and having this wizened old character who tells them exactly what to do. Sometimes it can work, and sometimes your parties will appreciate that. Judge your players in terms of, would they appreciate a Yoda-like cameo? Would they sit back and smile as the dragon rolls over on its belly and acts like a giant cat, a Cheshire cat, perhaps? You've got to decide for yourself on how and why that would work. Now, what's the reward? Why would we have these? Why would we go to these lengths to add in a mentor? Why spend 22 minutes talking about the mentor, for that matter? Well, there are some large amounts of value propositions, I suppose, that you can look at getting. Following of the advice, for one. To have an NPC that the players respond to, react to, and get valuable insight from, and to have them come back to that NPC is a win. It means that you've played the NPC well enough that the players see that there is value in this NPC. They want to engage more with the NPC. So it then gives you that interesting vehicle, that interesting avenue. Now you can have the NPC abducted. You can have all kinds of relationship things going on with the NPC. You can have the NPC guide them. And when the NPC dies, there will be a certain amount of invested value from the player character's perspectives. And that makes for a better story. So there is PC growth. The PCs themselves are going to grow as they build this relationship and they build this insight into the mentor's character. You also are going to have the player growth. Now, the player growth is, to a degree, looking at how your players go about role-playing, how you think they would get more benefit, because remember, it's always about their benefit. Perhaps sometimes a little bit for our own benefit too, but generally speaking, it's about how do I help you become a better player? Oh, well, I can do it in-game rather than sitting down and saying, all right, now listen, you need to become a better player because, quite frankly, you suck. That's not going to work. But if you have an NPC mentor who's going, did you check their pockets for clues? Oh, you didn't. Well, perhaps you should do that next time. You never know what you find in a man's pockets. It makes the player sometimes go, well, yes, maybe we should have actually searched the bodies rather than just running over them. Or what we could have done is brought the body back with us. Yeah, that would probably be smarter. The player is going to be learning just as much as the player character is going to be learning because they're one and the same thing, rarely. So there is that benefit that you are helping the player to become a better player in terms of those kinds of things. If you're running more detective-y based stories, they're definitely going to need that kind of help and advice. And finally, the mentor gives you insight. The mentor is your voice in the game world that gets interacted with. When your mentor asks, what think you? And the player character responds, I think this is all a waste of time because I think there's something more to this than meets the eye. I think we've been tricked. As the mentor, you might go, insight you have. Seek more, you should. As the GM, you're going, they've picked up on my subtle string. Or you're going, there's more to this than meets the eye. There is now, because I'm not going to just let you say that and not have it more complicated. Oh my God, it's not. I made it too simple. Time to put on the thinking cap. So you as the GM are going to get insight from listening to your player characters, listening to your players through the player character. unpacking that. The prostitute who rolls over and says to the paladin, "How are you feeling this morning?" And the paladin says, like we're fighting a never-ending battle. That is insight for you as the GM to go, it does actually. We've had 22 combats in a row. Probably time to change it up a bit. So there is a wealth of value to adding an NPC to your game and to using them in ways that perhaps you haven't necessarily explored before. That's my advice to you, Game Master, is to have an NPC, use them, explore them, see where they go, and ultimately kill them off in a dramatically appropriate way. They become one with the Force, they dissolve into petals on the wind. They just generally don't hang around very much, because once you've got the character to the point where they are doing the correct thing, mentor, got any advice? Have you tried this? Yes. Have you tried that? Yes. Have you tried this? Yes. Then I'm really superfluous to this entire adventure, and I don't need to be here anymore. Die. So the mentor has a shelf life. Realize what it is, and then you can adapt them. They can change. They don't have to die off. They can become a supporter or a guide on the final journey. Mentors don't necessarily need to just kick the buckets and disappear. Mentors, much more than just your average NPC. At least that's what I say. Until next time, happy gaming.